One of Eva Reich's specialties in gentle bioenergetics was working with trauma that was pre-verbal, nonverbal, meaning that it was from under 2 years old. Most people have verbal memory from 2 years up and do not have any memory from under 2 years old. There are exceptions to both. But the memory of what happened to us under 2 years old is basically in the body. And even if somebody doesn't have memory of it, it's possible to work with it. And Eva developed and integrated some tools that were very important in working with trauma that would happen to people that was under 2 years old. In fact, she saw so much trauma in babies and young children that she became very effective in recognizing that in adults and making suggestions of things that they might do to help that. For instance, she observed that what she called the familiar in utero emotion, that many adults were living out life in the same emotional state that their mother had when they were in utero. She believed that the black hole depression could have its origin in utero, sensing that when mother was depressed, the baby would pick up on that, and that's what it was to be alive. So anytime somebody would say, I've been depressed all my life and I don't know where it began, or I've been afraid all my life and I don't know where it began, or I've been angry all my life and I don't know where it began, Eva would often begin to think about what life was like for them when they were in utero. What was mom's emotional state? What was happening outside of them as they were developing in mom's belly? And one of the interesting things is that Eva developed tools and techniques that could get at that. Many models of therapy appreciate that that's where our roots are, is in those beginning years, those first 2 years. Not very many of them have the effective tools that Eva integrated into gentle bioenergetics and changed so they became the foundation of working with what we call primal trauma. The first of those was one she developed, butterfly touch massage. And she discovered that in using butterfly touch massage around the world, she could restore the contraction that would happen at the time of birth or in utero for people. And this contraction that she saw resulted in people pulling way inside. And you could observe it by lack of color in the skin, very pale or no luster, and cold body temperature. And she discovered using butterfly touch massage around the world that the life energy would expand outward and people would become red, rosy, and otherwise, if there was this contraction, it became the foundation of illness. And Eva discovered by reversing that using butterfly touch massage that she could prevent people from developing some of the illnesses that happened in life. I got to experience this with my granddaughter. My granddaughter was adopted. My granddaughter was very pale, not much color. Her hands were cold, and she wasn't really so much there in her eyes. She also had asthma. And one day I said to her, how about if I do butterfly touch massage on you? She was probably about 4 years old, actually. And she said, great, Grandpa. So I did butterfly touch massage on her for maybe the next 6 months whenever I was around. And she would always be asking me to do it before she went to sleep. And one day I was getting to travel, getting ready to go to other countries to teach again. And we'd been in a swimming pool and we're walking back, and I took her hand, and it was extremely warm, toasty. And I looked at her skin, and it was rosy and pink. And she's never going to be dark because she's a redhead and light skin, but the skin was rosy. and she was there in her eyes. And before that, she used to be kind of very quiet and inside, very well behaved. You'd love to have her in your classroom. But now she was more like a normal child of her age. Once in a while, her mother and I would say, why did we ever do this butterfly touch massage? Because she was so much easier to be around than afterwards. But she was normal now. She was enjoying life and she was out there. Second tool that became very important was the gentle bioenergetics balance. That when people maybe learn to be very still, wrapped up, swaddled so tightly, that they learned to be still and didn't move much in life. And even discovered that through using this balance over and over again, or for several times, that movement could come into the body and people could overcome this immobility. Or that it could also help people that were in trance states, where they'd been abused, or to reconnect to their bodies. And then perhaps the most important one of all, from my standpoint, is metamorphosis. And one time Eva said in a workshop, we're going to do this metamorphosis, and the person may re-experience their in utero memories. And my response was, yeah, right. And so I propped myself up to watch it, and she did it. And to my amazement, when Eva was doing this technique, done on the feet, the person moved like a fetus. I'd seen that in a movie in college. And even more amazing was when they were done, their body structure had changed. They were soft and open. And even more amazing, when they came back 5 months later, their lifestyle had changed. And they weren't doing the same patterns they'd been doing before. They'd moved on. And the last one we talked about, maybe not the last one, but the one we'll talk about, is Psychodrama Birth. And Eva learned this tool from somebody else and integrated it into gentle bioenergetics, but made it very safe, using what she called minimal stimulation, maximum response. And made the structure safe by always having somebody that could protect the person. And as in every tool, always telling people they could stop if they wanted to, just by saying stop, never pushing them to go any further than they wanted to. And also by always having somebody that would consciously pay attention to that no pillow would ever cover the face or impede the breathing. And I've seen some very magical experiences with people coming out of this experience and the changes in their life. People who felt like they were stuck in life and they actually had been stuck in utero and somebody had pulled them out with forceps or a vacuum. And after they went through the psychodrama birth, their life changed. And they no longer had to follow the dictates that were in their body memories and shut down. But they were open to exploring new areas in life.